Have you ever thought about renting a luxury motor coach and taking it on your dream luxury motor coach vacation? Today we're here with the team at Goss RV, who has rented more luxury motor coaches than anyone in America and designed more unique, bespoke luxury motor coach vacations than anyone out there.
They really get a feel for your family, your needs, your interest, and plan and tailor that trip just for your family.
But of course, we like to bring in some extra white glove service and some concierge.
They stayed Grand Canyon, Zion, Bryce, Salt Lake City, Grand Tetons, Yellowstone. Just an unbelievable, life-changing trip for them. We've been doing this over 25 years, have the largest fleet of high-end Class A luxury diesel pushers in the US.
Your concierge team could probably even take that dream to another level that folks didn't even know was possible.
Absolutely.
We're with Ben here at Goss RV. How you doing today, sir?
Andrew, thanks for being here.
Yeah, always a pleasure to see what you have going on here. I've got a lot of questions for you today. I want to ask you about RV rental pricing, some of the different experiences that you can create for owners, but what all do you guys do here at Goss RV?
Well, primarily today, we'd love to talk to you about our rentals, our leasing program. Basically, we've been doing this over 25 years, have the largest fleet of high-end Class A luxury diesel pushers in the US, and we're a nationwide company. So we're doing this all across the country, even into Canada. So whether that's a national park vacation, whether that's an exclusive spot at Talladega for the Talladega race, a music festival like Bonnaroo where you have complete VIP access in $1 million motor coach, we're helping families and clients do this all across the country. So excited to share more, yeah.
Yeah, and anytime anybody asks me, where do I rent a $3 million motorhome, Goss RV is the first one that always comes to name, and really nobody's doing what you guys are doing on this level. Now, I'm impressed with your fleet of luxury motor coaches, but I'm really impressed with the vacations that you've designed and some of the cool stories we've heard from you and your teammates here. Now, I know you have some other RVs that are not $3 million. What are the more entry-level RVs in your fleet here, and what are some of the different uses for them?
Sure, as I mentioned, we want to stay consistent, which that means luxury Class A diesels only. So we're talking about all the major production coach manufacturers, Newmar, Integra, Thor, Fleetwood, Tiffin, right? So all those upper echelon of their brands are what we're renting here, and that tends to be kind of the entry level in terms of our inventory. Let's call it a $500,000 to $750,000 motor coach.
Yeah, and if owners out there maybe have a production motor coach that they're not using and they want to offset some of their ownership expenses, is that something that they can put in your rental fleet here to help offset those expenses?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to talk with you. Our only requirements of the coach be in obviously very good condition, no more than like 2 or 3 years old. And the floor plans we're looking for, there's a variety of reasons why we rent coaches, but we really kind of specialize in the bunk model floor plans. So Newmar, Fleetwood, Integra, Ford Travel, all kind of have those brands, especially the ones now that are offering 1.5 bath, even 2 full baths. We'll look at a couple of those today.
Well, and if folks have Prevost coaches, will you go back a little more than 2 or 3 years on a Prevost or a Newell coach?
We certainly will. I mean, I think probably 10 years is probably the sweet spot, but we have a lot of very active 2017, 2018s, 2020s in the fleet right now. Yeah.
And I'm sure Ford Travel probably falls somewhere in the middle of all that as well.
I'd say in that like probably 4 to 5 year window on a Ford Travel.
Well, I've got a lot of questions about, prices of different coaches and the different levels of vacations, but can you show us some of the different coaches in your fleet, and can we talk numbers about what some of these coaches cost to rent?
We certainly can, yeah. Let's go over here to this. I got a great Newmar London Air I'd love to show you.
Yeah, and we're gonna get you guys a full video on this first 2 full bath quad slide bunk marathon coach. This is an extremely special coach. We'll talk more about that one. You're gonna wanna check out the whole video. And I can imagine those $3 million Prevosts are a pretty penny to rent, but this London Air is still a high dollar coach. The new London Airs are pushing over $1 million bucks. What does this coach rent for, and what are some of the rentals that it has gone on in the past?
I think it depends on the type of rental our clients are looking for. It may be a 3 or 4 day weekend at a track, a racing event. That rental's probably gonna start around $15,000. If a client were to take more of like a week to 10 day trip out west to national parks, you're probably more in the 20, 25,000 a week range.
But I know that all of your rentals are bespoke, so folks can call you and get an exact quote because no two rentals are the same. So we're just giving kind of general ballpark pricing. And I know you also do a lot of, concierge service as well. If folks have a specific event or a music festival, you can help folks get special passes, even special parking passes. I heard like for racetracks that are sometimes really hard to get parking passes, you guys might have some connections.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a concierge team that not only helps plan trips, vacations, books excursions, activities, thinks through dinners, private chefs, but you're right. Specifically at Bonnaroo Music Festival in Manchester, Tennessee that takes place in June, this will be our third year in a row where we have like 15 dedicated spots in the most VIP area of the campground. We're talking in the middle of nowhere, so having a air conditioning luxury motor coach with a shower on site, incredible. Same, we'll tell you later about our Talladega packages, but we're rolling out our third year in a row. We're the most premium location at Talladega, right on the start-finish line with all the wristbands and passes for all the activities throughout the weekend. So yeah, it really is very cool.
I really enjoy concerts and music festivals. Now, hypothetically, if I wanted to rent this London Air for Bonnaroo and I don't know where to get the parking, I don't know where to get my passes, can you help set up a package deal that's going to have my passes to the concert, food, everything?
Absolutely. We'll have the coach setting up there when you arrive. You'll get wristbands to access the Camp 931, which is the VIP area. Our team will stock the coach with all your food and groceries for the weekend. Even have a guy on site there to take care of the select number of our customers who are there for the weekend. So it really is a high-touch boutique experience.
Any idea roughly what I'm looking at? And I know a lot of that cost is not the coach, but what am I looking at cost-wise to rent, like maybe this London Air or maybe one of your lesser expenses? I'm on the lower end of the budget here.
Sure, our Bonnaroo packages, because of the hard fixed costs involved, are starting around 20 to 25,000, and that's up to 8 people per coach.
Wow.
So with a flexible sleeping coach like this, you could have several friends or a larger family all go together.
Well, and to create a priceless memory and to have that experience, 25 grand seems like a lot, but some of these experiences are just priceless.
And if you've ever been to Tennessee in June, it's not on the cool side of things and humid and muggy, right? So to have a very comfortable coach to come home to every day is a great way to experience that festival.
Yeah, definitely on my bucket list. But do you think we could take a look inside of this London Air?
Love to show it to you, yeah.
This coach feels nice. It smells like new. And you said this is a 2023?
2023. Yeah, it just came into our fleet here recently. So this coach to me is perfect for a family or a larger group of friends because of the spacious living area, opposing couches, a very nice booth dinette, and then the flexible sleeping spaces, right? This is a queen size sleeper sofa. We got 2 bunk beds and we got a king bed in the back. So a group of 6 friends can easily be in here and be all comfortable together.
Yeah. I think if you've got like 3 couples that want to split the cost, some of the couples may have to bunk up a little closer, figure that out. But I think a great way to go to a music festival and everybody throws in no hotels, all that. Now, on that Bonnaroo, that 25 grand that you just kind of roughly loosely quoted me, I know a lot of that fixed cost is going towards the festival. But if I was the owner of this coach and you were managing it and renting it out for that festival, what is roughly the income that an owner would receive on a trip like that?
So if you were an owner and you're putting the coach in the program for a rental like that, because of all the fixed costs, like I said, you're probably getting around $4,000 to $5,000 for your coach to basically run up a few hundred miles, be plugged into power, very minimal use. Our drivers are always in control of the vehicle. So it's a great opportunity for these stationary events to pick up some really good income for very limited use.
And I can imagine the folks, spending 25 grand to rent a coach like this for a few days are usually taking care of it, and then you have your coach operators on site to make sure that the coaches aren't being neglected. And if something is damaged, how is that worked out?
Well, so good points, several points there. I think first and foremost, you have to call in and talk to one of us to rent a coach. So you can tell pretty quickly the type of individual you're working with. So first and foremost, that's a big barrier, I think. Second of all, at minimum, we have pretty substantial security deposits. Typically $7,500 is kind of our base deposit. And insurance is also in place even for stationary rentals. So you're both protected from the deposit, our contracts, and the insurance policy that you as an owner, by placing your coach in a fleet, are guaranteed for that coach to come back in the same condition it left in, right? Also putting that responsibility on the renter to, if he were to damage the coach, he's responsible for that, right?
So that cost is covering the insurance for that trip as well?
That is correct. So we put insurance in place anytime the coach is moved or on a rental. So if it's a stationary event, it's insured on the way up and back, and that's on us. Once the coach is delivered, that's on the renter, but an insurance policy is in place.
Now, about how many rentals a year do you think a coach like this you would be able to get?
You know, I think there's a kind of a misconception around the rentals, and we're running these coaches 30, 40 weeks a year. It's just not true. Because of the high cost to rent an RV from us, okay? Second of all, to protect the investment and depreciation, we're definitely picking and choosing where we rent these coaches to. So our average coach gets about 10 to 12 weeks of rental a year on average. So by doing that, we're roughly netting the owner, anywhere from like 7 to 10% of the value of the coach a year back to them, which covers the cost of, depreciation and maintenance.
Yeah, I was thinking probably like 50, 60 grand on a coach like this, which is probably a value of around $500,000 or $600,000, give or take. And that's, a lot of variables. We're just talking loose numbers, but I think it's a pretty good general idea and a great opportunity to offset your luxury motor coach costs, especially if you have a high-level diesel pusher bunk coach like this. Now, I can imagine it's been quite a ride in this market over the last few years. What is the current state of the RV market, the rental market? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, the rental market, it's been somewhat difficult to try to manage the ups and downs since COVID to this point, but we've really seen some really steady growth over the years, and I think that this year was a really good year from the rental standpoint. Now, we are entering the fourth quarter, so we're slowing down a little bit in terms of our normal rentals. Summer season is probably a little busier for us, but this is the time of year where people are really starting to think about buying and purchasing a coach and qualifying for some kind of tax deduction. So we're getting a lot of phone calls about that right now because putting it into the rental program actually helps them qualify for some of those tax incentives.
That makes sense. I recently had this conversation with my CPA about my boat. If I was leasing it back out in a situation like this, it would make a lot more sense on the write-off, but I'm not doing that, so I did not get the big write-off on that, and it cost a lot of money, but I can see there's some huge tax advantages that people are taking advantage of.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think whether someone is selling a business and there's a big liquid event for them, or they need the write-off in general because of their income, I think there's opportunities there. I mean, I always consult a CPA, and like you were doing in reference to that, but there's huge opportunities. And I think that for us, we want to be a trusted source behind all of that. So we have the right people when it comes to, should you set up an LLC when you buy a motor coach or not? Should you finance it? Who do we go to? So we have a lot of those resources too, so we can help people walk through that process.
Yeah, definitely. If you're able to have your motorhome kind of be a business making money for you, some huge advantages when it comes to taxes with that.
Absolutely.
And every coach that I've been in, it smells new, it feels new. You've got an amazing staff of coach operators that really understand these coaches, and I can tell that they're protective of the fleet here.
I think that's very important. I mean, we are definitely managing assets, right? And so our owners and our coaches are our greatest resource here as a company, right? So how we take care and maintain these coaches is how we have repeat business, referrals, happy owners, happy clients. It all ties together, but it always starts with the motorhome.
Yes, sir, and I'm sure you've got a lot of great stories, all of the celebrities you've worked with, and I want to get some more stories from you, but let's take a quick look through this coach, and I want to look at some other coaches, talk more money, nice bunk model, and these are pretty long bunks too, so even if an adult wanted to sleep in these bunks, I think they could be comfortable.
Yeah, most of the bunks you'll see are at least 6 foot, anywhere from 72 to 74 inch bunks, so meant to be very comfortable for most adults. And you always have privacy with all these doors. All these doors are pocket doors, so you have privacy to the bunk area, privacy to the back. Your half bath's actually in this room. So yeah, definitely creating spaces. As you mentioned, couples, that's very common, where one couple might take the front salon and have the half bath. The other couple takes the back with the private master bath in the back. So you really can create kind of a 2-bedroom feel for an event in a coach like this.
Yeah, and this is a bath and a half coach, but I bet you some of those 2 full bathroom with 2 shower coaches are really popular.
Absolutely. The 4 travel luxury bunk villa models are very popular. There's a new Marventana floor plan that has 2 full baths. It's our job as a sales team to find out what your needs are on the consultation and try to pair you with the best coach that best gives you the floor plan to fit your needs.
We'll look at another 4 travel and another Newmar in a second, but a small step up into the rear bathroom here with cathedral ceilings. This does have an emergency egress door, washer, dryer, some nice closet space, king size bed back here. You've got center ducted air conditioning a really high-end coach, but let's see what other coaches they have here at Goss RV. Well, now this Ventana is a couple steps below the London Air.
Sure.
Would this be a little bit less for that same Bonnaroo vacation?
It would be. You'd probably be looking at $2,000 or $3,000 less, because you are probably 100 to 150,000 less in terms of, value of the motor coach. But this is a great floor plan too. This is a 2022 4310 floor plan. This is the bunk bed 2 full bath model, which is a very attractive floor plan for any type of rental. So yeah, I'd love to show you the inside of this one.
Please. This has a real nice feel in it. Now, who would normally be renting coaches like this?
I think an RV like this is best for a stationary event or maybe a vacation to national parks where you're primarily camping, right? You don't want to travel 5,000 miles in 2 weeks in a coach like this. We'd probably put you in a Prevost. But for a family of 4 to 6 people or a couple of groups of friends, when you're camping at Yellowstone for 3 nights and then you go up to Glacier and you're at Glacier for 3 nights, it's going to give you so much room, so much flexible space. So it really is going to be your home away from home when you're out at these locations that don't offer, other luxury amenities.
Now, if someone wanted to rent this coach and actually drive it with their family, we've talked about it in the past where like the Prevost, the $3 million coaches, they're going to have a coach operator. But would someone be able to just rent this and take their family on a vacation out west?
So short answer is yes. There's definitely a process. So number one, safety of the client's family and the coach are our number one priority, right? So we have what we call an orientation, but we're basically going to bring a professional coach operator who would be the same guy who would drive you on your trip, give you training upon delivery. So if you were to fly into, let's say, Salt Lake City, we're going to meet you at a large parking lot. We're going to have that operator spend probably a minimum of 3 to 4 hours with you, going through the whole coach, give you a driving tutorial, driver training. As long as you pass all that and feel comfortable, then yes, with 24/7 support, we would let you drive the coach yourself. We found out that, through that process, getting comfortable is critical, but once that client kind of gets ready and has the support of our team along the way, very rare circumstances where we're having issues on the road.
And they've got 24/7 support if they need to call someone to walk them through it.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, I think you're always going to have questions, especially if you're new to RVing. And again, our coach operators are available and can be an add-on to any trip. But I think in most national park trips, a driver's only going to enhance the experience, and we're always going to recommend that, to have a professional there who stays in a hotel at night. He's not in the coach with you in the evenings, right? He's down the road 5 minutes at a Holiday Inn. But having a guy to manage the coach and take care of all the things, while you're out having fun, really adds to the experience for sure.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a use for doing it both ways. Now, what about internet? Are these coaches equipped with internet, or how do people get Wi-Fi when they're on the road?
Good question. We've kind of migrated from more of the hotspot to, thankfully now, almost all of our fleet has Starlink, and most of it's in-motion Starlink. So you are able to stay connected pretty much anywhere, which also works well with the smart TVs. So you're able to just log into your Netflix or streaming account, feel like you're in your home, right? So it's great for that as well.
Yes, sir. And what are some of the rentals that this particular coach has gone on in its life here at Goss so far?
I know this coach went to Bonnaroo last year, so it did go to that festival. It's picked up a couple of national park trips out west over the summer, so trips with families to the Grand Canyon and Zion. I think it picked up a trip up to Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons. So I'd say a mix of that and some races in between the season. I know it was at Talladega as well. So over a year, we're talking maybe 10 rentals, half of which are probably vacations, half of which are probably stationary events.
This really hits a sweet spot, I think, to have the Ventana where it can go get set up at an event. This is a smaller horsepower where like that London Air had the 605 horsepower, but if the renter is not driving the coach and they're having someone set it up, this is still that ultra luxury feel. Maybe not quite as many bells and whistles as the London Air, but to get a substantial savings, great opportunity. And then if owners have this same floor plan and this same coach, probably a great opportunity to put it in your rental fleet and offset the rental income with not a lot of wear and tear.
100%. I mean, as we continue to grow as a business and the brand awareness gets out there, I don't think we can get enough coaches, right, to fulfill what we need to fulfill. So we'd love to have you give us a call. We'll give you a consultation, walk you through what your options might be as an owner. But yeah, definitely give us a call.
And having 2 full showers is probably very desirable for families. families, because if they're playing all day and it's time to go to dinner,
Right.
kids can get cleaned up in the mid bathroom, mom and dad in the rear bathroom. I can imagine this stays pretty booked out. But say, a family wanted to take this coach out west, maybe pick it up here at your facility in Atlanta and spend that time training with a professional driver. What would like a 2-week rental, maybe going to the Grand Canyon and back? So they're putting some maybe 5,000 miles on the coach, which is a lot of miles on a coach like this. What would something like that run?
So we could do that. We would probably recommend and counsel them, because we have coaches out west as well, is to maximize your time as a family. Also, to be on the road with your kids for 5 days through the middle of the country might not be the most desirable. So although you could do that, that would probably run you 30, 35,000. You might could do the same trip and fly in and out of Las Vegas and take 10 days and see much more stuff, and probably do a trip for, $5,000 or $10,000 less. So that's going to be our recommendation is, our average vacations are about a week to 10 days. So if you're East Coast or you're more than 1,000 miles from where you want to end up, jump on a plane, man. Book that flight, and you're going to spend less on that flight than you are on fuel to get out there.
Now, does Goss have a network out on the West Coast? I believe I heard something about Salt Lake City. Do you have something going on out there?
We do. We have a couple of partner facilities and hubs. So we're based Southern California, St. George, Utah, Salt Lake City, and then we also kind of serve the country through a hub in the Midwest, close to Chicago, obviously down in South Florida during the winter months. So yeah, we're able to cover the whole country kind of through our hubs and facilities.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So a lot of logistics go into it. So picking up this coach similar to this in, say, Vegas, maybe 10 days, 25 grand-ish,
Yeah,
give
20,
or take?
25. I think the biggest variable in terms of the cost are going to be the excursions and activities we put together for you. Fuel's going to be very easy to estimate, as well as RV parks. But our team's setting up private helicopter tours, whitewater rafting, ATVs. So obviously you do something every day that can add up. And I think that's where if the trip costs $25,000 or $35,000, maybe in excursions and activities.
Well, and I'm sure you can help folks find all kinds of fun stuff to do. You've had teams of people helping folks with these experiences for decades.
We have an incredible concierge trip planning team. So once you book a coach with Goss, you actually get assigned to a specific trip planner, and you're going to work with that person all up until your trip's taking place. So they really get a feel for your family, your needs, your interests, and plan and tailor that trip just for your family.
And whatever that dream trip is, I bet you your concierge team could probably even take that dream to another level that folks didn't even know was possible.
Absolutely, yep.
Well, let's take a quick look through this, Coach. I want to talk about some of the more high-end coaches you have.
Sure.
You have a few coaches that are available, but if someone is thinking about purchasing an RV, they've never RV'd before, I cannot encourage you enough to spend that 25 or 30 grand on an RV rental like this to dip your toe in the water before you dive in at $500,000 or so, because it can get real expensive trying to trade these in quickly. So I would rent one, make sure you like it, but this is a great floor plan with 2 full baths with 2 showers, plenty of room here, and then very large bunks. I think these bunks seem maybe even a little bit longer than the bunks we saw in that London Air.
I think you could actually fit here.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Plenty of room, 250-pound maximum capacity on these bunks, and then queen-size bed back here. So you're going to have to, snuggle up a little bit closer in this coach than some of the others, but you have a small step up back here where we've got a second shower and an emergency egress door with a washer and dryer. I've got a few questions about that washer and dryer, towels, linens. How does all that work?
Good question. So when you rent a coach from Goss RV, we actually have what we call a housekeeping kit, which is essentially as if you go to an Airbnb, all your linens are going to be there, all your towels, your sheets, pots and pans, kitchen equipment. Our concierge team will even go above and beyond that and have pre-selected groceries already stocked in the coach when you arrive. So, I think the washer and dryer is there to use for a quick load, or the kids get stuff dirty, or you want to wash some fresh towels, but we want to supply the coach for the duration you're staying with everything you might need without having to do laundry.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are thinking ahead of all kinds of little stuff like that to make the end user's experience better.
Absolutely. Our team's always trying to think above and beyond how we can create great experiences for these customers.
We're here with Andy Bullard, and how long have you been here at Goss?
Yeah, been here about 5 years, serving clients all over the world, so it's amazing. Love my job.
I'm sure you've got some stories, but this is a beautiful Ford Travel Presidential behind us. What's the story with this coach?
It is, yeah. This is one of the most unique coaches out there, as you know, but with the 2 full bathrooms, 45-foot tag axle, but just inside, it just feels like a unique, luxurious, ultra luxury on wheels to really provide that experience that we look to present to our clients.
Now, what are some of the trips that this coach has gone on, and what's the cost of some of those trips?
Yeah, so great question. So this for travel realm presidential, as you know, so you're pushing like a $1 million value coach when it's brand new. And so our clients are very used to the ultra luxury, whether it's the jets, the yachts, the cruises all over the world. So when they're moving into something that's going to be on wheels, they're looking for something that's just as quality, just as high, comparable to what they're used to. And so a 4Travel, if you're not going to be in a Prevost or a Newell, a 4Travel is a phenomenal production coach to go with. And so we have a lot of families that, maybe 2, 3, 4 children, because you've got plenty of sleeping capacity here, as well as the 2 full bathrooms really provide just everything you need, the comforts and the ultra luxury inside a home on wheels. And so this type of coach, we have a lot of popularity around like the Yellowstone area, all over the canyons, up and down the California coast. And then of course, there's times when we've got some of these on the East Coast and they may want to visit the New England area, or if it's during the winter months, catch the Florida Keys. We'll take you anywhere in the country you want to go, including Canada. And a coach like this is one of the best options out there.
Now, a coach like this, is someone usually going to have a coach operator with them driving the coach, or would they be able to do that training and operate the coach themselves?
Yeah, well, one of the things I love about Goss RV and what we provide is that we do give you the option for a lot of our coaches to drive yourselves through a little bit of training and orientation at the beginning. A coach like the 4Travel, most of the time, we're gonna have a professional operator that's with the client, just because of the the gravitas of this coach. But at the same time, we've got folks that have experience in the past with either their own coaches, and they just wanna maybe upgrade and get into something like a 4Travel Presidential. So we would allow someone with some experience to drive a coach like this.
And what does something like this rent for, like on a weekly rental?
Absolutely. So just the coach itself, that's typically going to go from anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000 a week. But of course, we like to bring in some extra white glove service and some concierge. We've got wonderful relationships with vendors and RV resorts all over the country. So we like to, add that in and build that package value for them so that they don't feel like they're out on their own planning a 7, 10, 14-day itinerary for their family. And so with everything included, concierge, a coach like this is usually going to go anywhere from the 30 to 40,000 range
per week,
for 7 to 10 days. Yeah.
Yes, sir. You mind if we take a quick look inside?
That would be awesome. Let's go.
Now, this has that new 4Travel. It even smells like a new 4Travel in here.
It smells great.
And you said this is a 23?
That's correct. It's 2023. Yes, sir.
And I believe it's got a little over 30,000 miles on this coach. And we were talking with Jer earlier. He said the owner of this coach would be willing to sell this coach, I believe, for $699,000.
You got that right. And those mileage is really a lot of road miles, right? So it's still in phenomenal condition. So it's ready to go.
Yeah, so show us around this coach. What's all going on in here?
Absolutely. So obviously, a big part of the vacation experiences and just living in it for 7, 10, 14 days or so, you want to have plenty of space. So we've got a really nice lounge salon area with a full L-shaped couch. A nice thing about this couch as well is that it folds out into a bed. So you can get 1 or 2 people sleeping here as well. So you're not limited to just the bunk beds and the master king bed in the back. We've got more people to sleep and spread out up here. So it's almost like they have their own bedroom up here.
Yes, sir.
Over here, it's a great place to have some drinks, some cocktails, play some cards, open up all the windows and see the just beautiful surroundings that the 4Travel is going to take you on. So got everything you need for a kitchen. We have a lot of folks that actually like to make all their own meals during their vacations. They just got very unique and personalized type of diets. And so we try to make sure that they have everything they need. We can stock it for them, get their custom grocery orders as well. But you've got your convection microwave oven, your induction stove top as well. Of course, got to have the dishwasher. Who washes by hands anymore? Just kidding. And then your full-size refrigerator and freezer. So
yeah, all Bosch appliances, and this 4Travel is loaded with features. We've got heated tile floors. I mean, all kinds of bells and whistles. We could press a button for the blinds to go up and down. But the sweet spot of this coach is when we get to the middle of the coach here. And this is what I get fired up about. So you can see the RGB lighting in the bunks right now. You can set different colors. But then when we open up the door going into the middle bath, we've got a full-length mirror here, and then 2 full showers and plenty of room here in this shower in the middle of the coach. I really like the matte black hardware and all of the design cues that For Travel does with all the beautiful tile work. And even with the bunks in the second full bathroom, a huge rear suite back here.
Absolutely, and I mean, that's one of the biggest questions we get a lot of times. You've got mom and dad or whoever may be the adults, they've been out all day adventuring, having the excursions. They just need a little privacy when they get back, so they're on some movies up front for the rest of the family, and mom and dad got their own TV back here, big master size king bed in the suite bathroom.
Well, and if you want to make sure mom's happy, some of the moms out here are going to really appreciate this. This is the only motor coach I've ever seen. I've seen other For Travels with this, but check this out. You've got the full bathtub with a TV in your bathtub, and it's so large that you could even, sit down over here, take a bath, take a shower. With all of the beautiful tile work, it just feels like you're inside of a luxury spa villa. Does not feel like a motorhome in this coach. Then you've got a washer and dryer back here and an emergency egress door. Probably one of the most popular floor plans on the market. And with this bathtub, 2 showers and bunks, I can definitely see why. Now, for someone to rent a coach like this, how long of a lead time do they usually need to set this whole vacation up?
Yeah, we're finding more and more people are booking even 8 to 12 months out in advance. That's not to say that we don't get the call, tonight for someone that wants to go out next week for some last minute trip. We also have a lot of families that looking for bucket list type stuff, and occasionally, families hear unfortunate news, or they have things where someone's going to get deployed or whatever it may be, and they want to do one last big family trip. And so a lot of times we'll get those last minute calls and try to put together a really great experience for families.
And you mentioned earlier you do a lot of corporate stuff as well. You've even done some wraps. If there's corporations that want to have a bus wrapped, you can do that. What are some of the more fun corporate events you've done?
That's right. That's great. So we have some wonderful clients from all over the world, and once they find out that they can put advertising and marketing on this bus for the amount of time that they're going to rent it for and maybe travel, that's just like lights out, no-brainer idea for them. So companies and organizations like Barstool Sports, we have a lot of wonderful organizations and companies and even brands that like to book our motor coaches for whether it's a week or a month and go out almost like an advertising tour. So a couple of our fun clients that we've served over the years, there's too many to name on a video, but Barstool Sports, we've gotten to serve them numerous times. They'll wrap it with, their Coors Light sponsor and go do the NFL camps or do the 4Play golf show, or you'll have Capital One during the March Madness season, with all the elites there on the bus, but having a lot of fun with their commercials, filming as well. And then just other companies and brands like American Airlines who are out trying to recruit new pilots, and they'll wrap the coach with American Airlines and do a little road trip tour and stop in cities. We've had banks, fintech companies, launch products, all types of new companies as well, trying to get their marketing and their branding out, and it's a great way to do it on a motor coach.
Well, yeah, if someone needs a mobile office that doubles as a billboard, what a great way to spend some money and get your name out there.
Absolutely. Maybe some tax write-off purposes in there too. So
I can imagine. Now, for folks looking to go to that next level, I think you've got some Prevos in your fleet here.
We certainly do. So For Travel's not going to be it's going to be a showstopper for sure for vacation, but you definitely got to check out some of the Prevos for sure.
Can we see some of the other ones?
Let's go check them out.
Now, this Prevo Epic Motor Coach, we got a chance to see this when it was brand new, one of the coolest coaches on the road. Do you mind if we take a look inside?
Let's go. It's ready for us.
So this Epic Motor Coach has really taken the Prevo world to a different level with a totally different style design. How have the renters and team here at Goss been responding to this coach?
Yeah, it's been great. Compared to a Marathon, there's certainly some unique differences as well, but what we found is that the Epic Motor Coach has been just as popular, if not even more at times, for some of our clients because of the 3-bunk layout that you'll see here in a minute. But just some of the features, it's very modern looking, but still got a little bit of a woodsy feel. So people like that, especially when they're out touring, some of the real adventurous national parks and such. We've also found that this coach has been a wonderful transportation option. So especially, during the snowbird season, we get lots of requests for folks that don't want to necessarily fly private. Maybe they've got some pets, maybe they've got a few personal belongings they want to take with them. So we'll have, Northeast folks come all the way down to Florida. We'll double driver it, get you there as fast as possible. And it's very comparable to a private flight, but get to stop and see a couple fun places, have some nice dinners along the way.
Well, and kind of more like a tour bus, but I think those tour buses can be a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little more,
they've been on the road quite a bit. So
Yeah,
this is going to be a little more luxurious, a little more comfortable in style, and maybe a little more used to what they're used to from a residential standpoint. So
yeah, I've been in a few tour buses, and not only are the drivers a little bit rough around the edges sometimes, but the coaches can be a little bit rough around the edges. A lot of those coaches have 1,000,000 miles, where this is only like 23,000 miles on this coach, I believe.
that's right. And a coach like this is going to feel as close to their home as possible. So, and they're going to be able to make it theirs for a couple days. So we actually have a lot of fun transportation type trips as well. So someone, parents going out to see their child play college sports, and maybe they want to go visit. We've got other families that have booked 4 or 5 ballparks in a row, and they'll plan an itinerary in a Prevost to hit all the ballparks along the way. We've got World Cup coming up next year. World Cup's going to be just big blowout all over the U.S., Canada. We already have countries coming in booking trips with us now to rally around their team and where they're going to be playing all over the United States. So we're gearing up for that. We expect 2026 summer to be the busiest we've ever had in 25 years at Goss RV.
Yeah, I want to ask you more about some of those World Cup packages that you're putting together. But talking about transporting folks, I've seen people move as well. If they hire movers and they've got pets and a whole bunch of stuff, and they're moving from California to Florida, chartering a bus like this is expensive, but it's priceless to have your pets in a comfortable mode of transportation.
100%, Andrew. Matter of fact, one of our funniest stories ever is we had this lovely lady from California who was moving, and of course we didn't really know all the details until we started getting into the process, but our amazing coach operator was a champion in all this. They had 2 dogs, 3 cats, and a parrot, I kid you not, and we transported all those animals along with several of their belongings. I think it was to California to Texas, but you'd have never known. The moving truck was in tow as well, but we handled the personal things, and especially the pets.
I can imagine all of the challenges and obstacles. Now, on that note, having pets in the coach, if an owner wants to put their coach in the rental fleet, and these are bringing in huge rental numbers, can that owner determine whether they will accept a rental with pets or without pets?
Yeah, we certainly make sure that every owner's aware of the types of clients and the types of trips that are being requested. And so the nice thing about having 50 to 60 coaches in the country is if one owner had their bus requested and they want to turn down that rental, we've got another one of comparable value that we can provide for the client as well. So we certainly make sure that owners kind of give that final consent and that blessing, if you will, on that trip.
Yes, sir. And what is the price to rent a Prevost like this? Because I know like the new marathons are about $3 million, where this is about $1 million less. And I think the owner of this coach is looking at purchasing a new Prevost and would be willing to let this coach go for $1.599.
That's correct, absolutely. So a coach like this, and by the way, we have a lot of folks that are interested maybe just renting it for a week or so before purchasing, and we can get creative with that as well. But this coach, typically with the driver and everything included, it's going to start you right around that 29, 30,000 range. And then potentially could go up into the 40,000 range if you want to keep it for 10 or 14 days. We are selling this coach as well. It's great value. Of course, we'd love for our owner to purchase it and keep it in the fleet, which can offset a lot of their expenses throughout the year. Plus, there's some depreciation advantages. But this coach right now is going for $1.599, so it's available right now.
Yeah, and I think it's only got about 23,000 miles on it for a 2025 Prevost X double slide with bunks and just a beautifully designed coach. Yep. Now, we did an in-depth video on this coach when it was brand new, but let's take a quick walk through it. Triple bunk coach with a mid bath, so having those north-south facing bunks. If the kids want to catch some Z's while you're going down the road, it's very easy to get some sleep in the north-south bunks compared to east-west. And then we've got this huge, beautiful bathroom, and I believe it's like a Scandinavian inspired design with all of the natural wood and the contrast with the lighter color tiles. In the shower, we've got the overhead shower head that it comes out of the ceiling, and then a really good size bedroom back here. So we've got a king size bed back here, beautiful design on the ceiling. How many rentals has this coach been on, and how have folks responded?
A good year for a coach and a healthy year is anywhere from 6 to 12 rentals throughout the year. That way, that's why our coaches stay very youthful. We keep them young because our goal is also to preserve value, and just like the owner of this coach right now, he's had it for a year or so, but wants to move on up to a different Prevost. So we don't over rent any of our coaches. We try to spread them out as much as possible. This coach has done really well. The families that rent this coach are always pleased. Very Lots of rave reviews about the layout. Of course, this is a full-size king, which is rare for some motor coaches. But
Well, in a bunk, to get bunks and the king is
to get
rare.
the triple bunks in the king is very rare. So very comfortable coach.
Now, for the owner of this coach, you mentioned about 30 to 40,000 if they rented it for the week. Hypothetically, about how much of that would the owner be keeping if someone bought this coach and put it back into your fleet?
Absolutely, yeah. So a $30,000 to $40,000 rental, owner's going to see somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000 of that generally, maybe a little more, maybe right at that number. We're going to cover a lot of those costs, the lion's share of those costs: operators, insurance, cleaning, concierge services as well, 24/7 customer service, roadside assistance, delivering, retrieving, and so want to make sure that they're getting a great experience. Owner can be hands off and just get a check.
So while the coach is out making money, the owner can be at home hitting the snooze button and letting you guys deal with any headaches that may come up.
Exactly. They can be planning their next family trip. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times our owners do pull their coach off maybe for a week or two or a month at a time. So they typically could bring in more owner rental income throughout the year, but they also want to use it for personal use. So we're mindful of that as well.
Well, and you did mention that the owner of this coach turned down in August. I believe they wanted to use it for themselves, so they did turn rentals away.
Yeah, that's right. During the prime of our seasons, and they knew that, so they probably said no to about 20 to 25,000 of rental income just for that month. But well worth it for them, as that's the reason they own a coach, is because they want to be creating their own memories in it as well.
Yeah, and for folks that only use their coach for maybe a month or two out of the year, what a great way to offset that ownership expense, not worry about storing it, keeping it plugged in, maintaining it, making sure, I'm sure you guys keep up on like engine maintenance and monitor all of that, coaches in your fleet?
Absolutely. When we take on an owner's coach and exclusively manage it, we want to make sure that we're taking care of it even better than they would be able to. And so, as a matter of fact, that includes sometimes our owners will say, hey, where's this coach going to be in 2 months? What's on the docket? We're going to fly and meet you there, and we're going to go explore that part of the country. It's another way some of our owners can even get out and explore some of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you have a lot of, high net worth owners that you do business with. If someone wants their coach managed, but they don't want to put it into the rental fleet, are you able to just do that coach management for those, super high net worth individuals?
Absolutely. So I know Jer Goss, our founder's family and CEO, they've been working on a really great management program. We've refined it over the years, and it is a great program for owners to select which level of management they'd like for us to take on. And some of those tiers, will include more service and maintenance, and then others will include just storage and maybe some delivering and retrieving. They also have access to all of our coach operators if they ever just want to hire an operator and spend the time with their family, and the operator can take it to and from wherever in the country they need to be. But yes, great management program, lots of options for owners to check out there.
Well, and a great way to kind of piggyback on all of the resources of Goss. I know I've had some friends that will how for your airplane, you have captains for your airplane or a crew for your ship. If they hire just an individual coach operator, they're kind of depending on one operator, where with Goss, you've got a team and a network across the country in the resources to really give that owner that high level of experience, where if they were trying to do that in-house, it might not be quite as streamlined as what you guys have it here.
Absolutely. I mean, our owners, for us, a win is to treat them like family around here. So we hope they feel the same way about us, but a lot of times they'll call and they'll hire one of our operators to help them out wherever they need to be.
Yeah, you've got some class act operators on your staff here. Just everybody that I've dealt with here is extremely sharp.
Oh, thank you, Andrew.
And I think you guys even have some law enforcement and military guys as some of your operators.
We certainly do. So several. I don't know how many operators we have at this point, but it's several, and many of them have served our country in the military, in the police force, even in the fire departments across the U.S. We've even had some former operators that were on the road with a lot of music artists and entertainers. So they've got quite a few stories to share. But they just kind of want to come off the road and do a little more family focus, some corporate type events as well with us. And so we've got a phenomenal fleet of coach operators.
Well, I think you've got some more coaches here too that even go up from here. Do you think you could show us what else is going on around here?
We certainly do. Let's go check them out.
So when you're sitting outside in these Zipty lawn chairs outside of the newest, nicest marathon coach in the world, I think that's when you know you've made it in life, huh?
That's right, absolutely.
Even if you're just renting the coach for a week, right?
Sure thing. We want our customers to feel like they're in the most luxurious coach in the world, and when you rent it for a week, you feel like you're the owner.
Well, right now, this is probably the most luxury coach in the world for sale, and it could potentially be for rent. Now, this is an extremely special coach. This is the first quad slide marathon coach with 2 full baths and bunks. I've been trying to tell the Prevost converters to build this, a floor plan like this for years, and obviously it's a lot easier said than done, but the engineers at Marathon figured it out. And what is the story with this Marathon coach behind us?
This is really unique. We actually helped design this coach for a previous Marathon owner who wanted to upgrade. And long story short, at the finish line, some things happened. So we ended up purchasing the coach. So we're looking for the next owner. Because of us purchasing the coach, we're able to get a very, very good price on it. So that's very attractive for the new buyer. So really stepping into something that if you wanted to design one of these now, you're probably looking at a 2-year waiting list to build something like this. So it gives you a great opportunity to step into it now at a great price before prices continue to increase every year.
And the new ones are going to be well over $3 million. And if someone wants to have the Goss team either manage this, like we were recently talking about with Andy for, high net worth individuals, or if even a high net worth individual wants to put it into the rental fleet to help offset their cost, you can usually get quite a few rentals on a coach like this.
I mean, this is going to fetch, in terms of individual rentals creating the maximum revenue, this is it, right? This coach is going to rent for a week with a driver, probably a minimum of like $50,000.
Well, and you have A-list celebrities that probably call here daily. I've heard some of the stories. You guys don't ever drop names. You guys are so modest around here, but I've heard through the grapevine about a lot of the biggest name A-list celebrities in the world will call you guys and say, hey, I want the best of the best, and this is it right now.
Right, and the cool part is every year we're getting new coaches. In fact, we have customers with builds and slots on new coaches coming up in 2026. So I think the ability to every year knowing you're getting something newer and more innovative allows our customers, if they're renting every year or every 2 years, they're going to be getting the nicest, newest coach in the world every time they rent if that's what they want.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people ask me sometimes, they're like, well, this is a 25 and someone's already selling it. Why would they sell it? Well, they probably already have their 26 taking delivery, and a lot of people at this level change these coaches more often than I change my shoes probably.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of finding with that kind of pattern is like every 2 years. So you pick up your coach, like for example, a current owner of mine bought a coach at 2024 last year. Well, he's picking up his new coach probably next April or May. When he picks up his 2026, he's going to put a slot down for a 2028. So 2 years kind of the sweet spot to maximize your revenue because it's the newest coach, but also kind of the sweet spot in depreciation to not drop too much in price. So with our program and our leasing and management, we're helping these guys really come pretty close to breaking even on owning a coach.
Yeah, and I know these people have the highest level of expectations. So even if it's not about the money, they want the latest and greatest.
They want the latest and greatest. Yep, and designing things. And I think when you own a coach and you're in it for a year, there's going to be things that you always think about, okay, my next coach, I want to do this, right? So it's always making those kind of tweaks and changes to the next bus.
Well, and on that note, this coach did a bunch of cool little stuff that I've never seen before. And we did do an in-depth, full-length video on this that we'll leave in the description below. But do you think we could take a quick peek inside and show the folks some of the cool stuff?
They have to see it. Yeah, absolutely.
Marathon coach knocked it out of the park with the interior design on this coach. But up front here, you were just showing me something really cool they did with this.
So this is kind of very cool. This is the fireplace and kind of the divider, and they've secured all these secret storage places we keep finding, but you pull this back, got a great little holder for personal protection there, or some valuables you might keep in the coach. Very cool feature, just all the storage, fireplace. Here it's electric fireplace. It puts out just enough heat if you like, if you're in a cool spot, but not too much.
And also heated tile floors. I mean, this coach is loaded with every feature. And you could press a button for the blinds to go up and down. You've got that TV that pops down out of the ceiling. And this is by far the biggest booth I've ever seen in a Prevost.
Sure, and this is even in the biggest booth. We can extend this out for another 2 feet. Throw some leaves and a table in there, and you actually have a table that could seat 6 adults on the table to have a meal.
Very comfortably as well. And then I like this setup with the couch over here across from a fixed Samsung TV. And then I think we got some shots where this actually pulls out into a queen size bed. And I was so impressed with the quality of, even when we took it apart, everything is finished out in this coach.
Yeah, it's a luxury air mattress, basically creates a queen bed in the living room. So marathons, we say, typically only sleep maybe 4 people if you're utilizing the bunks. We can safely say this coach will sleep 6 comfortably.
Very comfortably, and having 2 full showers, something that no other, I've only seen one other Prevost tour bus No other Prevost motorhome has ever done what they did in this coach.
First of a major converter for sure.
Yeah, and I love the design with the natural woods and the lighter cream colors. And we're gonna do a more in-depth video on this coach, but I just wanna show you guys through it real quick. You've got the fixed bunks, and then check this out, guys. Huge middle shower here. I want to show you for size. I'm 6'2", I'm very comfortable. And then you have that overhead shower where it comes out of the ceiling. There's also a vent with a fan above that. Plenty of room considering they have 2 showers in this coach. And coming into the rear bedroom here, I think every bedroom should have a couch, somewhere to sit down, relax, maybe, read or scroll, put your shoes on.
I love the space back here with this Coach King bed, with a couch, and still having this kind of room back to your private secondary, full bathroom with a rain shower in the back. Cool little feature here too. Still plenty of storage in this bus. You kind of have his and her closet, so that closet's pretty similar, but plenty of space to store your clothes while you're traveling. There's even a safe back here. If you pull this back here, we give you the combination. And if you're traveling for a week, you got some valuables, you're afraid to leave in the coach, they're safe in here as well. So, just setting up for a family to experience this coach and be really anywhere in the U.S. and be completely comfortable. There's never been a Marathon coach, a Prevost coach alone, that'll give you this kind of room and amenities.
Well, I think Marathon has built so many coaches that they're thinking of all kinds of little clever stuff. There are a lot of A-list celebrities have these coaches, and high net worth individuals that have the highest level of expectation. So I can only imagine how much the owners have pushed Marathon Coach to always be improving.
And they're incredible. They're a team of engineers and designers. They're going to do something innovative, but they're going to make sure it works and it's right. And so I think that was kind of the push of how do we make all the weight distribution work? How do we manage the water pressure and hot water capacity for 2 showers? So thinking through all those details took a lot of time, but man, they hit it out of the park.
Well, and another detail they thought of back here, how do you clean the shower door? This is something I've never seen in a coach, but the shower door actually has a squeegee here. So we can press a button to open and close this shower door. It's going to be ran off of pneumatic air. And then, if it's wet right now and we press that close button, there's actually a squeegee right there. So it's going to be squeegeeing that off. And then we have privacy glass over here. So if you want some privacy while you're showering, you can press that button. Or if, you and your partner are, want to give each other a show, you can turn that off, and now you've got that transparent glass there. And you've got another overhead, kind of that rainforest shower heads, with nice indirect lighting as well. So, plenty of room here in both showers of this coach. Now, renting out a $3 million coach like this, I can only imagine the liability. How do you protect this coach when it's being rented out?
Sure, well, there's several layers. Number one, there's a substantial security deposit. So with a rental of this coach, you're probably looking at a minimum of like $15,000 to $20,000. There's also a very strong contract and multiple layers of insurance in place. But I think the biggest piece is if you're going to take this coach on the road, you're going to be required to hire our professional coach operator, right? So you're going to have a guy that's there with you that will be with the coach at all times, except when you're sleeping, and they're going to stay in a hotel a few minutes down the road. But in terms of moving the coach, the slide outs, mechanical features, you have a trained professional, taking care of the bus.
So when it's time to dump the holding tanks, they'll go dump your sewer tank for you?
Exactly. Fill up gas, do everything.
Well, that's one of the more glamorous parts of RVing. So they get to skip dumping the sewer tanks?
Exactly, yeah.
And what do you think a coach like this, this is the highest level. You cannot go up from this.
You can't.
How much money does someone need? What's the lead time in renting a coach like this? And is it even available for rent right now?
We're working towards that. So I think we could definitely field inquiries if you were interested in renting the coach. I think at minimum, you're probably looking at a $50,000 rental rate plus a $15,000 to $20,000 deposit. We typically require 50% upfront to reserve the coach, with the remainder due about 45 days prior to your rental. So I think if you're looking towards 2026, spring or summer, there's definitely windows of availability still on the bus right now.
Yeah, and if someone's, thinking about purchasing one of these $3 million coaches, to have that rental and kind of dip their toe in the water and maybe spend $100, get the experience to make sure they're going to like it before they go all the way in, a great opportunity.
We've had dozens of current owners now that rented first. And so the ability to test out an X chassis, test out an H3 chassis, go to a luxury RV resort, experience that. I think in the end, even if they don't buy a coach, they're going to have a great trip and a great experience, right? And so before you make that substantial investment, giving a vacation and a coach is a great way to really make sure that you want to, get into that world and spend that kind of money.
Well, and to be able to learn about the different types of coaches as well. You know, some people may be happy with that Prevost Epic coach that's, you know, about $1 million less expensive than this coach. And other folks may come into this and really appreciate that extra $1 million of amenities in this coach.
Oh, sure. I mean, I think you're going to find things you like and you don't like as well. So maybe the bunks are okay for your family. Maybe it's you need to have adjustable bunks. Maybe you don't want bunks at all. So I think finding the right floor plan, testing that out on the road, experiencing it with your partner or your family is just the best way to go about a great buying decision.
I want to get some more stories out of you because I know you've got some incredible stories. Now, with all the folks you've worked with, I know there's all these NDAs that are preventing you from sharing these amazing stories, but are there any trips that you've helped folks design, you know, these bespoke motor coach vacations that really stand out as like your favorite stories or some of your favorite customers?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I think I have one. I have a favorite customer of mine who lives in North Carolina, and him and his childhood best friend both have grown kids now. So there's like a family, 2 families of 4. They took a coach, a Prevost, with a driver from Las Vegas, and they never slept in the coach. They stayed Grand Canyon, Zion, Bryce, Salt Lake City, Grand Tetons, Yellowstone, and flew out of Bozeman, okay? Over 14 days. We booked their accommodations, we booked their tours, they're together, their kids are hanging out, they're in the motor coach all day. Just an unbelievable, life-changing trip for them. And they've been all over the world, but that was their favorite trip ever. This past summer, I had a customer of mine who had about 2.5 weeks, and he's interested in purchasing a Prevost one day. So we had a driver, still trained them, but they went from Salt Lake City up through Yellowstone, Tetons, and Glacier, into the Canadian Rockies, down to Vancouver, and actually took the coach on a ferry to Vancouver Island before they dropped in Seattle. So, I mean, that's incredible. In terms of some of the most beautiful places in the country, continental U.S., and you did it all in 2.5 weeks in a motor coach. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that.
Absolutely. Can you share like what the cost of those folks' trips roughly?
Sure.
Or?
I think the family I talked about, that the 2 families together probably spent about $50,000 to $60,000 plus expenses and excursions. I think the trip that we talked about that was through the Canadian Rockies and back to Vancouver was closer to 100 plus. Yeah.
Okay, now that 100, is that just for the coach or what all does that include?
So our packages, when we price something out, includes the coach, insurance, a mileage kind of allowance, RV stocking, Starlink internet we talked about, driver rate, but then kind of the add-ons are the excursions and the experiences. And, you know, for a week, we've had customers spend $20,000, $30,000 in a week of add-ons. We have customers that might do everything themselves. So I think kind of anything in between, but our concierge team has a lot of great trusted partners and vendors. So they're going to guide you in the consultation process on what activities and excursions best suit your family.
Okay, so if someone, you know, charters a helicopter and that gets arranged through the Goss team, that, you know, $5 or $10 grand for a helicopter charter is going to go on that bill and that's all worked in. You guys arrange all of the details for the whole trip?
Exactly. Even down to dinner, arranging a private chef to come on site and do a cool dinner. I mean, I think we shared a video we shot with you that we took a family out through the Colorado Rockies and went to the Red Rocks and Moab, and we arranged a private chef dinner at this gorgeous reservoir lake in Colorado. Chef comes in, they're hanging out with their kids, drinking wine, eating 5-star food, watching the sunset, not a soul around. I mean, are you kidding me?
And you mentioned that they said that that was like one of their top meals they had in their life.
Oh, they said it was incredible. And the guy's cooking it in the coach. So it proves to you that a kitchen in a coach like this, that a 5-star chef can, everything on this bus with an outside grill can make a 5-star meal on the coach.
Yeah, so cool. Now, is there any expensive, I'd like to ask, what's the most expensive trip you've ever booked?
I had one of my top marathons a few years ago, and it was like maybe a 2-month rental, and we're talking probably north of $300,000.
Wow.
So, and we also rent to the Burning Man Festival. So that's the crazy festival out in Black Rock City. We have a very tailored, and call us and we'll talk to you about it, but there's a certain way we do that festival. But for our high-end clients, just for the week, they'll spend well over $150,000 to experience Burning Man in a high-end coach as well.
Well, I think about 50,000 of that's going to go into cleaning the coach when it gets tagged.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I remember in my RV detailing days, I cleaned a few coaches that came back from Burning Man, and you definitely need to charge a cleaning premium.
There's a way we've over the years really perfected how to best protect the coach. And that starts with when the RV's on the playa, partnering with a high-end camp that has power, so you're not running the generator, right? Not running the air conditioning when you're driving out there so it doesn't all blow in the coach. There's certain things we seal, we blow out as soon as it gets back, all the compressors and inverters. So again, it's an expensive and time-consuming process, but we owe it to the coach owner. They're gonna get a big check for Burning Man, but we also want to keep their coach running for a long time. So it's kind of an art in managing that process.
Well, I never thought about it until now, but I bet you the Prevost and Newells and Four Travels stay cleaner than other coaches because they have those pneumatic air seals around the slide rooms.
Correct.
That create an actual seal to really keep that dust out of the coach. So I can imagine the Burning Man experience in one of your Four Travel and up coaches is going to be significantly different
not only that, but it's freshwater capacity, sewer capacity. You got 4 ACs cranking, so the ability to stay cool on a really hot day. I think all those things combine for an unbelievable premium experience out of Burning Man.
Yeah, 200-gallon diesel fuel tank with a 20 kW generator. You're running a generator all week if you need.
Yeah, but like I said, we're going to make you plug in. We don't want to destroy that $20,000 generator. So we're going to say plug into infrastructure and power, partner with a high-end camp. It's going to cost you more money, but it's all part of the experience, and that best protects the coach.
I respect that. Now, you've got a lot of stories. How long have you been working here with Goss RV?
I've been at Goss RV, coming up will be my 14th year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So over your 14 years, any other stories that really stand out of cool ways to use a motor coach?
Yeah, great question. I had a A-list celebrity family with twins, and they were deciding on colleges. And so, being from a wealthy family, but also wanting to know what's out there, they took some regional trips over a year and did a trip up to the Northeast to all the Ivy League schools. They went to all the Big Ten schools in the Midwest. They came in the Southeast and hit all the SEC schools. In the end, they created unbelievable memories together with their family, but it really helped solidify where they're going to go to, where the kids were going to go to school. So I think they're now like finishing up their sophomore year in college and having a great time. But it was really cool for that family who's, still friends with us. I got a Christmas text from the client saying Merry Christmas with his kids and saying thanks for the experience this year. You don't have to do that, but we're helping families create these memories. I think also something we're seeing a trend of is kind of these multi-family trips. So maybe you rent 2 or even 3 coaches, and you have grandma, grandpa, and you got the 3 grown children with all their kids, and you're caravanning through national parks, and you set up a camp, and you're all together. So the idea of like having this multi-family generational type trip is something that I think is just like life-changing for those families.
Yeah, I can imagine that experience has got to be such a different level than just going and sitting at a resort on the beach.
Or going to Disney World, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is a whole nother world out there,
right.
Going through Montana and Glacier, all those spots. Now, you mentioned going to like the Ivy League schools, and I know it's so hard sometimes to find somewhere to park a 45-foot motor coach.
Sure.
How do you source where they're going to be sleeping? Where do you find places? Because there's not a lot of RV resorts in
Absolutely.
some of these
I
cities.
think our concierge team finds the best spot, but when you hire a professional coach operator, we're also going to tow an SUV. So your driver at that point becomes your limo driver. So you might park the coach 25 minutes from downtown Boston, sleep there. The next morning, he's going to take you in the SUV, drop you off at the front door of the admissions office. You go spend 3 hours talking to folks, get back in the car, go back to the coach, on to the next location.
Well, I remember being at Polson Motor Coach Resort up in Montana.
One of our favorite spots.
One of your Goss RVs was there, and I saw a black Suburban pull up, and the driver, sharp looking. He was looking like the Secret Service. Pulled up with a cup of coffee, brought it to the front door of the marathon, and gave it to whoever was renting that marathon, and then drove off and was probably on call. So if you want your driver to go pick you up a pack of gum or a Red Bull at the gas station, whatever you could think of, they're kind of at your service.
Oh, 100%. These coach operators, I can't stress enough how awesome these people are. And they're people first, right? That's their motto. And so they want to create these experiences and take the stress out of a trip for a client. So they end up getting Christmas cards and end up getting invited to their private house and wherever they live, or come to this concert with us. So they become almost friends, but they're there just to, it's kind of like having a yacht captain and a crew, and they're doing it all in one. They're going to go and clean up behind you if you're out on an excursion, or go fill up the tow vehicle with fuel if you're out. Just little things that they do to behind the scenes that you might, as a renter, not know they're doing. They're just all doing to make a seamless experience.
Yeah, and how do you vet these coach operators? They're in close proximity. I'm sure you have billionaires and, A-list celebrities. How do you vet these coach drivers to make sure these families are secure with these gentlemen?
Sure. I think it's obviously significant background checks. It's resumes. It's multiple interviews. And then twice a year, our new drivers go through a strenuous week-long orientation with our veteran drivers. And so we kind of start the process. Okay, you're vetted. You're now a driver. you're going to do a delivery with a senior coach operator. You might do that for 3 or 4 months. So it's a process to where, maybe there's 15 drivers that do trips like in a bus like this versus there may be 30 drivers who would do a delivery to Talladega in a Newmar. Does that make sense?
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You have kind of levels to
Levels.
it. And I'm sure with your A-list celebrities, you have specific drivers that you try to place with them.
And these drivers too, so many families of ours do repeat trips year after year after year in different locations. And 9 times out of 10, we got to make sure we have Paul on the trip or Malcolm on the trip. We got to have the same guy that took us last year. So that speaks for itself, what kind of relationship they're building on these trips.
Ben, I really appreciate you showing us some of the coaches you have here at Goss today. Now, if someone out there wants to schedule their dream motor coach vacation or maybe have their motor coach put in your rental fleet or have you help them with coach management or maybe even purchase one of the coaches around here, what's the best steps for them to take?
I think first go to our website, which is gossrv.com. All the links and landing pages are on there, but you can always just give us a call and we'll take the next best steps for you.
Awesome. We'll leave all that information in the description below. Ben, really appreciate your time,
Andrew,
sir.
Thank you. It's been a blast.
Yep, my pleasure. Likewise. Also appreciate all of you out there liking and sharing and subscribing. We hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.
They really get a feel for your family, your needs, your interest, and plan and tailor that trip just for your family.
But of course, we like to bring in some extra white glove service and some concierge.
They stayed Grand Canyon, Zion, Bryce, Salt Lake City, Grand Tetons, Yellowstone. Just an unbelievable, life-changing trip for them. We've been doing this over 25 years, have the largest fleet of high-end Class A luxury diesel pushers in the U.S.
Your concierge team could probably even take that dream to another level that folks didn't even know was possible.
Absolutely.